What's happening, everybody? Speedboat Maniac 410 coming at you after a long-awaited, well over 30 days. A lot to catch up on, but I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it in this video, but I will give you a quick rundown, which you know my idea of quick is about 30 minutes. Here's the deal. I took on a 40-hour job after being self-employed and running several companies of my own. After the past couple 3 years, things have been slow enough where I decided I got to do what I need to do to earn a living like apparently normal people do. So I got a job. So even though it's only a 40-hour a week full-time job, it is taking up quite a bit of my time. Commuting, getting stuff together. It seems like you blink and then you got to be in bed by 7, 8 o'clock so you can get up at 3:45 in the morning to be at work by 6 or 7. Everybody knows the drill out there. I'm not used to that. I'm used to doing my own thing and getting there when I feel like it, and like blowing out, let's say, 30 hours worth of work in like 2 days and then taking off 3 days. Those are days that have long gone. So that's what has been happening. That's what I've been up to, as if anybody really cares. I mean, I know a lot of people, are just watching it. Hey, when are we going to take the boat out? Let's run that. So, it's not all about that. This was about lifestyle stuff and how an ordinary guy with a very low budget could keep a boat like this, not only afloat, insured, keep the motors going, keep the outdrives going, pay for the repair bills, and do all the stuff himself. It's basically a homemade speedboaters channel. So if you're looking for something else, and I always say this, I'm not trying to push anybody away, then just tune out right now. Click off down below. Just go somewhere else and unsubscribe. But here's what I've done on and off over the past, 2 weeks or so. My jack failed, the actual jack that cranks up the trailer, my crappy, rusty trailer that I'm going to end up scraping down and painting myself over the course of 2 or 3 weekends when I get a chance over the winter. Let's see how that goes. But what I did was I bought a new 2,500-pound Chinese jack, $59.95 from one of the internet companies, the big megacompanies.com. No, free shipping, the whole deal. You know where they're out of. And here's what she looks like. Okay, $59. So I saw several trailers in the past few years that had 2 of them. I'm thinking, who the hell would use 2 of them? Why would you need 2 of them? Why don't you just get one 5,000-pound? Well, sometimes when you jack the trailer up, I don't want to say it keeps it uneven, but it's an awful lot of pressure on one frame rail. So I said, I'm going to do it like a couple of them boats I saw up at Arts. They put 2 of them, one on each side. So you just jack one up, and then you bring the other one's tension so it disperses the weight. Look, I'm no rocket scientist. It seemed okay for me for, what, $118? And I'm good probably for another, 10 years until the bolts rust out. So I went ahead and I got grade 8 bolts and lock washers on the back and whatnot. No big deal. The locking washers that were already here, I put them on, and I got fresh ones over here, as you can see. So that's the whole, because guys, you didn't even know, but I was jacking it up with my pump jack, my aluminum NASCAR 2-pump jack with a block of wood, lifting it up and down 3 or 4 times just so I could take it out last month. That 3 or 4 times. It was a pain getting it on the truck, lining it up. Had nobody going with me or whatever. And I'm like, man, I got to get them damn jacks. So they're on. So enough of that. What else has been going on with the boat? Well, you wouldn't believe it, but you probably would. I always say that, but it's the truth. The last time I took it out, I didn't run the boat out of gas, but when I came back to flush it that same night, because I always flush it that very night to get the salt water out of the engines, and then I pull the plugs, as you guys know, to let the headers drain. And the headers are not leaking because water flows out of them. Even if you waited a couple days, which I had like a week or 2 before that, I forgot. I actually left the plugs in. It's not going to hurt anything if nothing's leaking. And I'm like, this is the true test to see if you have anything leaking down into your exhaust, right? Even though the headers have been pressure checked. pulled all 4 plugs, and all of them drained water out after 2 weeks. And I was like, thank goodness. So we know we have no inner wall header leaks from the top of the collector down. So that was really minty fresh. So again, anyway, ran the boat out of gas as I was flushing it, the starboard motor. So look, it's the first week of October. Obviously, boating season will go all the way through November here in Maryland until we get some super cold freezing days over and over. You can run all the way through end of December, first, maybe second week of December, depending on how cold it is and the conditions out in the bay. Do I want to wait that long? I don't know. So the million-dollar question is, and if any of you guys have any comments, just comment down below, because there's a lot of very smart people down there, a lot smarter than I am. Tell me what you think about what you do to winterize your fuel. Now, I know what Lily does for me when I have them winterize this boat and my 3 other fountains. They run race fuel through it, and they also run RevX Adrenaline fuel conditioner. So being that I run this one all the way out, I just went ahead and got some AV gas over at Bay Bridge Airport Marina, which is 100 octane. It is low lead, or LL, okay, and it has absolutely 0 ethanol in it. And again, I'm not telling any of you people out there who already know this. I'm not super aware of it. I've ran race cars years ago, and I just ran the 116 that you would buy at the speed shop, and I'd get it in the 55-gallon drums, and I'd run that stuff in my race cars that had high compression, you know, 11, 11 and a half or more. But all that fuel, from what I understand, had lead in it, and you can't run lead, supposedly, you know, on the highway, unless it's a street rod or antique vehicle and those kinds of things. So anyway, back to the boat. That's what I did. I went and got 20 gallons of gas. I put... Guys, this tank here is a 35. This is the rear tank of the boat. That's a 35-gallon tank. There's one on the other side also. So let's do the math. It's 35 gallons. That's 70 gallons auxiliary in the rear. Then there's a fuel tank here. As you can see, the vent and the cap right here. There's one on the other side. Those are 80 gallons. So 80 and 80 is 160, plus 70 is 230. So I have a total of 230 gallons that I run on this boat. So I figured, okay, I got 20 gallons. How are you going to do the math to kind of equal it out and love on it a little bit, even though one of them ran completely out? The starboard motor ran out completely. Not the front tank, but the rear tank. So I put 3.5 to 4 gallons in the rear tanks, each side, give or take. You know, this kind of 3.5, 4 or 5 gallons. 3.5 to 4 gallons, like this. Hold your tongue just right. That looks good. Put the rest in the 2 fronts. Then, when I get a chance, when I'm off, maybe in the next week or 2, I'm going to take the boat out again. And I'm going to mix it with regular 93, probably fill it all the way up, because I'm going to run the boat for a good piece and run it pretty hard. Mix the fuel, and then I will add adrenaline, talk to Alan and Art. I got a call into Joey Griffin and texting him about what we do with regard to these fuel issues with ethanol in the marine issues. The marine motors, the marine engines, and how they're failing. The ethanol is ruining rubber parts and internal parts. Not necessarily the mechanical parts, but it's ruining engines. So I want to stay ahead of that curve and keep it stabilized, the fuel stabilized, and not with those cheesy, crappy stabilizers that you see on TV and that we put in our lawnmowers. I'm not talking smack about them. I'm just saying there are better products that are, not just because they're more expensive, but better quality that would last and treat us better. So I'm going to get the information from Joey, Art, and Alan, because I trust those people. You know, they've been doing a lot of this for a lot of years, so I trust them and what kind of suggestions they're going to give me. So I'm going to crack the boat off with the AV fuel in it. Now, I will tell you this. I also asked Joey, he did respond to me about this. I love it. I mean, I can call or text Joey, and for the most part, he picks the phone up right away. Or if he's in the middle of something and he's doing some machine work, or it's loud in his shop, he might call me a half a day later, but he always does return my call or return my text message. It's Joey Griffin. He's awesome down in I I said, Joey, can I run straight AV 100 low lead fuel in my boat? And his answer was, no, it's lighter. You would need to put bigger jets in your carburetor. So with that said, I know that I can't run it straight, like wide open, like out on the bay and you're calling for 5,000-6,000 RPMs or whatever. But to start it up here in the yard and not go nuts and just kind of get some fuel circulated through the dry lines, because the lines were dried up, the fuel pump wouldn't even suck any fuel, it was empty. For now, it's not going to hurt anything, but answer is no, because the fuel is lighter. So you need bigger jets because it makes up more mass. So what I understand by that is if you're not careful, you could lean the engine out because you're getting too much air and the fuel's too light, or vice versa. Long story short, no, I may not run straight 100 octane AV fuel, low lead, in these 825, 830 horsepower Joey Griffin rebuilds. I may not do that. So when I get the information, I'll pass it along to you guys what I'm going to do to run it. Not just the end of this season, but what we do to winterize it and that kind of thing. They will probably put straight race gas in it to winterize it. You maybe 10, 20 gallons in each tank. You don't want it too full. You don't want it too low. Somewhere about a third to a quarter of a tank less. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. So again, I'm not giving you guys any advice. I'm just telling you what my experience is and what the suggestions have been given to me from the professionals. So let's crack this old puppy off. We're going to do the port motor first. And you know the drill. So I missed all you guys. Hope you're doing well out there and everybody's family's doing good. Let's pop the cork. Probably just going to set you up over here like usual and let you get blasted in the face by the spray of the exhaust. And I did put my plugs back in, so that's mint. I don't want water blowing all in my engine compartment. before we fire up the port motor, I want to show you the fuel valve. What I do, I leave both valves down for now, because you're mixing the fuel between the tanks down at the bottom where the valves are. This is the starboard side, both up or down shows on. This is the auxiliary, this is the front tank. This is auxiliary, this is the front tank. And then obviously when you're running, you switch the valves. You run your main tank and leave your auxiliary. But because I want to mix the fuel evenly, I got both valves open, and the valve being open will let both fuel tanks stabilize together and enter the end. Again, that's just what I do. We'll come back in a minute, we'll fire up the starboard end. I want to let it run long enough so the fuel gets up to the carburetor. Good old AV100. You know, it's fixed to 93 that's in there. There was very little left. I had less than a quarter of a tank on this side and zippy on this side. Back in a second. Okay, my YouTube peeps. That was the port motor. Now we're going to do the starboard motor, and I'm guessing this is probably going to be 95%. 100% AV fuel, because it was empty and I just put 7 gallons, 3.5 gallons in the back, and then the other 7 gallons or 5.5 gallons up front. So I spread it out a little bit. So let's see what happens with the starboard motor and if it starts right up. Let's see. All right. Let's let her rip, Tater Chip.